Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Sparesbox. Today we've got Gian's 180 back on the hoist. We are going to be replacing the rear diff for a few reasons. Mainly because it's noisy. I've driven it literally the length of the car park and you can hear it make noise, so it's pretty bad. And also because we have an upgraded Nismo two-way LSD. Basically what we're going to do today is rip this diff out, pull the back cover off, pull the cover off of our new two-way, and we're going to explain the differences and how it may work in your particular setup and what's going to be better for you. But straight up, we're going to rip into it, get the diff out, and let's have a chat. It's hectic. Smell it.
Oh god.
That's bad. We've got the diff of the 180 out. It's probably the original one. We just pulled the back cover off and there's nothing that's a hidden secret or anything in there. So just got a standard R200 with 6-bolt shafts and a viscous LSD. This thing's thrashed. Like, I can physically overpower the LSD with my hands. Like, it's not easy, but you definitely can get some drive through there. So you can imagine I have about 0 torque here. The SR is making, I don't know, over 200 kilowatts of the wheels. So you can imagine what this LSD is doing. It smells really burnt as well. So obviously burning that gear oil, there's a lot of slip and heat going on inside there. Moving over to our new Nismo two-way, the oil's brand new, everything's clean, it smells awesome. Well, as awesome as gear oil can smell. This is the diff from Tay. Obviously, for those familiar with that car, Moog and Hawkins had a lot of issues with diffs. I think they put 3 or 4 diffs in that car over the time frame of building it. But yeah, this is a super tight Nismo LSD. Looks in really good condition, and it is a two-way, and you can tell that by looking at the ramps in here. So both the ramps are cut in the same angle. Basically, it means it's going to lock the same on acceleration and deceleration. Probably not ideal for a true street car, but for what Gian's going to do with this, it's not going to matter. If we were buying a brand new one, you'd probably go a one-way or a 1.5 way, so that on decel, when you're just cruising, going around a corner, it's not grabbing. Whereas in this particular setup, the acceleration and deceleration of the LSD will lock up the same amount. So even if you lift off around a corner, you're going to get that, not a locker sound, but you'll definitely be able to tell that the diff is quite tight. But for a track car, that's probably pretty handy, especially a drift car too. When you lift off and then you're trying to initiate the drift, the wheels are still locking the same amount. So it's going to be handy for what we want to do with it. But yeah, they're pretty easy to identify. We'll get a nice close-up of that so you can see what we're talking about. If it were a 1.5 way, the angles of the ramps would be asymmetrical. And if it was a one-way, it would literally just be a triangular point in that area. But yeah, we've got this kind of 4-sided shape with rounded edges on the drive of the LSD. So basically just going to reseal that back cover and get it straight in the car. Also, the other thing that's worth mentioning, this was most likely from an R32 Skyline looking at it originally, being that it has 5-bolt shafts and it also has the deeper style rear hat. So it will hold more oil, which is perfect for what we're going to do with it. Obviously, 4-bolt to 4-bolt housing or rear cradle. Some of the later ones from S14s and S15s and latest Skylines have a 2-bolt setup, which runs larger bolts, and basically the only way to fit those to the earlier cars is to swap to the earlier cover anyway. So being that we have 2 and the Skyline one has a larger oil capacity, we're definitely going to run this one because it'll help with oil cooling at the track, and just having more oil in there generally is not going to be a bad thing. So we'll give this a good clean up, and we'll put some grey sealant on it and get it in there and continue along our way. Hopefully those shafts aren't seized in there, but when we do refit the new shafts, we're going to put a bit of anti-seize on the splines so that the poor sucker that has to pull them out next time, me, doesn't get stuck at the track knocking them out with a sledgehammer for hours on end. But yeah, super handy tip to always grease or put anti-seize on those splines when you're reassembling hubs, wheel bearings, anything that's got a spline on it. They always get wet, they always bind up. So, and it's the most annoying thing in the least opportune time when you have to swap a drive shaft out either on the side of the road or at the track. So yeah, highly recommend putting anti-seize or even just a wheel bearing grease on those splines. You don't have to go crazy with it. I'll show you how much to put on it when we're about to fit them up as well. So we'll give this a good clean and bolt it back on and be good to go. Sorry to headphone people. It's worth mentioning if you're going to reseal the back of any diff or even a gearbox case or a rocker cover or whatever, always make sure when you're running your bead of sealant that you put it on the oil side of your bolts. So if you're going to run it over this side, you'd also have to seal the bolts, whereas now because you've got sealant on the oil side of the bolts, you don't have to worry about oil tracking back through the bolts or anything like that. So yeah, just 2 seconds of running it on the oil side basically means you don't have to worry about trying to seal bolts or anything like that. So worth keeping that in mind, and it's heaps simpler not trying to reseal bolts and things like that. So yeah, sealing on the oil side and you'll be sweet. Some of you guys will have noticed and wondered why we took the complete tail shaft out as opposed to just unbolting it from the diff. Previously this had a ABS type diff in it, and the ABS and non-ABS diffs are actually a different length. I guess that then leads to the question, what makes a diff ABS or non-ABS? Well, on Nissans, or most Nissans, rather than running 4 channels of wheel speed or 1 on each hub, they actually just put it in the diff to just measure the pinion speed. Some Nissans do have 2 wheel speed sensors on the outputs of the diff. That's mostly in GTRs and things with a Tessa. But yeah, this system was just a single sensor on the back. This car doesn't have ABS anyway, so that's not an issue for us. But yeah, this is actually our second attempt to fit the diff today. Last week we tried to chuck it in, then I realised pretty early on that we didn't have an ABS, a non-ABS tail shaft here. So Gian brought it down with him today and we've whacked it all together. So we'll keep trekking, we'll just get these drive shafts bolted in. We didn't actually mention it, but we have done it. We've put oil in the diff on the bench. It's heaps easier to fill these up on the bench as opposed to trying to do it in the car, because yeah, on these the fill plug's quite close to the subframe, and then this has Hiker's delete as well, which is even closer again. So yeah, we'll keep chipping away. And there's Mo. Got the 180 wrapped up today. We've got the diff back into it. We've now got a super tight two-way LSD as opposed to the flogged out viscous LSD that was in it. So it should make the driving experience a whole lot better. Quick note for anyone that may have missed it, ABS and non-ABS diffs are different lengths, so they require different tail shafts. If you're going from one to the other, make sure you also have the same tail shaft to match. Same deal with 5 and 6 bolt shafts. There's also 2 types of 6 bolt shafts just to confuse it even more, but primarily they're in GTRs and Stagias, so, but same deal. If you're changing shafts or changing diffs, just make sure that you buy the whole thing together. Most wreckers these days are pretty up on these sort of conversions and mix and match type setups, so they try and sell you all the parts in one go where possible. So highly recommend, basically just making sure that you get everything from one supplier. It's heaps easier. We were lucky in that all this setup was in another car and Gian still owns that car, so we went and pulled the other bits that were required after our first attempt where the tail shaft didn't actually reach. So stoked to get it in, and we'll be seeing plenty more of this in episodes to come, I'd imagine. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.